picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors,
it's all in the detail.
opportunity here. Oh, how cool is that? How cool is that? From Chris Rigg.
Flanagan, 25-yard lines it up and drills it into the back of the net.
Virtue Motors, it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing, and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors,
It's all in the detail.
opportunity here. Oh, how cool is that? How cool is that? From Chris Ring.
Flanagan, 25-yard lines it up and drills it into the back of the net.
Virtue Motors, it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors,
It's all in the detail.
See if they can test Newcastle one more time here with Altidore. Opportunity here. Oh, how cool is that? How cool is that? From Chris Rigg.
Flanagan, 25-yard lines it up and drills it into the back of the net.
At Virtue Motors, it's all in the people.
My love of Spitfires came as a small boy. Working on Spitfires is a huge responsibility, and the same applies at work.
I'm a Punjabi singer. I've got a passion for singing, and I always loved cars.
When I'm photographing the car, I try and picture myself as the customer, so the photos have to look really good.
The care, passion and attention to detail people at Virtue Motors invest in the things they love will help you choose your next perfect car. Because at Virtue Motors,
It's all in the detail.
See if they can test Newcastle one more time here with Altidore.
Good evening everyone, and a happy new year from the Stadium of Light. An 8 PM kickoff, Sunderland versus Sheffield United, and myself and Danny are pitch side here. Danny, happy new year. I'm sure you'd like to send your happy new year greetings to everyone around the world.
Yeah, let's hope we can greet them with 3 points this evening back at the Stadium of Light. A couple of journeys on the road, haven't quite gone to plan in the last few days, but big opportunity this evening.
Yeah, big opportunity. Huge game in the Championship. We were looking through the scores as well all afternoon. Kind of went in Sunderland's favour as well. So this would be not just a big scalp for Sunderland, but a chance to pull some points between themselves and the top two as well. We were more than a match for them down at Bramall Lane, weren't we?
Certainly were, yeah. We deserved at least a point there. Obviously missed the penalty, and then we got stung late on, didn't we, with Tom Davis popping up with the winner. But yeah, as you say, this week a lot of games thick and fast over the Christmas period, and a lot of teams in and around us dropping points. I think West Brom have actually capitalised today and got back amongst it. But yeah, as you say, Leeds thought they'd won it late on with the penalty. Blackburn, big Danny Bart goes up the other end and snatches a point there, and Burnley as well held to a draw. So back over to ourselves against one of the rivals at the top end of the table. And I said a few weeks ago with that defeat, it was a bitter one to take, wasn't it? But a big opportunity to put that right this evening.
Let's give everyone a first look at the Sunderland side this evening. And there's been a change in the ranks as well, hasn't there?
Well, there's been two, yeah. So Dennis Sirkin drops down to the bench, Adji Elise coming in for him. So that's the change at the back. And then a little tweak in the system, I think. Obviously, Meander coming back inside, Patrick Roberts coming in for Alexic, who drops down to the bench, and Oshish, I think, is going to start out on that left-hand side, so a bit more of a 4-2-3-1 really. And Meander obviously pushing up, becoming a 4-4-2 at times, up there alongside Wilson Isidore. So yeah, you look at that, Patrick coming back in, pace in there really with Isidore, Meander, get Patrick on the ball, and I think we can cause these problems this evening, as we've seen down at Bramall Lane, albeit Tommy Watson was the main man that evening causing problems, and obviously he's in the treatment room at the minute.
Does the formation look quite natural to you as well? Some good balance in there, some good pace in there, some experience in there. Well, you're looking through the back line in particular. Luke O'Nien and Chris Meppen probably bring that, don't they?
Yeah, they do, yeah. And you know, they'll want to put it right. Obviously the goal we conceded at Stoke, you know, was another blow towards the last stages of the game, wasn't it? 5 minutes to go. And the fact that, you know, Luke had a heavy touch and then Chris hasn't quite dealt with it, following him up. And obviously the ball's ended up in the back of the net. So they would have been, you know, coming back on the coach, disappointed with the outcome of the game. Again, another game where we should have at least taken a point from it. We had chances, good opportunities in the game as well. Hit the woodwork a couple of times. So we've had two results now where we've let, you know, at least 3 points slide in the last few days, but we're still right amongst it. And as I said there, with the results going as they have done, and us being the latest game this evening, we get to see results coming in, and the results have generally gone for us at the top end.
Yeah, the players are just running out behind us here for the first time in 2025. Will it be a year to remember for Sunderland AFC? Well, those players behind us will certainly hope so. And if you were to say to most Sunderland supporters before a ball was kicked this season, to say they'd be fourth going into the new year, you'd take that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think absolutely everybody would. You may get one or two who, obviously you expect Sunderland, and I do as well, Championship, to be pushing worst case for playoffs. Now obviously where we sort of tapered off last season from where we were, start of December 6th or 7th, finished 16th, 17th. Obviously we were on the slide, and then you never know how it's going to go, how the young squad's going to react the following season. Obviously one or two additions come in, but yeah, it's been fantastic. Some of the football we've played. Obviously we've had a bit of a blip in recent weeks with all those draws we picked up. Then we got back on it with a couple of victories, and then again, as we said, we just let a couple of points slide. But what I would look at and what I say is, I don't think we've played a game over the 90 minutes in any game where I've come away and thought, oh, we were miles off it today, and they were much better than us. But as I'm in a game, Leeds is probably the closest one I would say here, but that was generally for 30-35 minutes in the first half of that game. Other than that, we've always been in games and generally been the better side. Obviously, you're not always going to get the results you want. We've had perhaps too many draws in those games, but listen, every team will sit there, look over the results they've had and say, oh, we should have got more out of that. But over the course of the season and where we're currently sat in the table, any Sunderland fan would take that right now.
And what about in terms of tonight's game, Danny? Something we were talking about when we were looking forward to kick off this evening was we wanted to see Sunderland come out with one of those great starts which we saw early in the season, don't we? Especially here at the Stadium of Light.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, if you can go and get that early goal, generally as people are saying, what's up with us in games recently where we haven't quite started and we've conceded a few earlier goals, haven't we, in recent weeks? And then obviously you're chasing the game then, and we've managed more often than not to dig ourselves out of it and come away with something. But yeah, get the crowd on side early on. It's guaranteed that Regis and the coaching staff, and generally as a player, you don't need the staff to tell you that. You want to come out and you want to get the ball down, and great evening for it. Yes, it's a little bit cold, but there's no wind in here this evening. We've had a few windy games recently in here, I mean, it's played its part, but it's still tonight. It'll be a lovely zip on the surface. They'll want to try and get the ball down and play a bit as well. But if we can go out and sort of put in a performance like we did in the first half at Bramall Lane a few weeks ago, where generally after the first 5 minutes we sat off them, then we thought, well, hang on, we got amongst them a little bit more, they got a little bit loose on the ball, and they turned it over a fair bit, and then we created some good opportunities, but we didn't take them. No.
Let's have a look at some footage then from a game where we didn't take our opportunities again, and it's looking back at Sunderland's last game now, and that of course was last time out, which was, what day was it? Anyway, it was against Stoke City. I've lost track of the day.
Sunday might have been, yeah.
Wednesday today, apparently.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, this is Sunderland in action against Stoke City. We had the chances, didn't we, in the game?
We did. They had a couple in the first half. It was a strange game. I remember saying it felt like it was bouncing in that middle third. It was bouncing around a lot. Neither team really dictated it or dominated possession for long spells. They were getting into sort of these areas, and shots were flying around, and Anthony Patterson had to come out on a couple of occasions, but then we were getting good opportunities on the counter, and again, decision making maybe, a couple where we could have slipped people in, we'll get onto them in a minute, but yeah, again, it's one of those where you think it felt like it was there for us going to Stoke. Just obviously sacked the manager, Ryan Shawcross, in charge for his first game. Obviously they've appointed Mark Robbins this afternoon, haven't they, so he's going in there. That one there, yeah, prime example where...
A couple of them for Paddo.
Yeah, no, he's done well, yeah. And then here's ourselves, Isidore, I think his link-up play was good. He was involved more, Wilson Isidore, in that game for me. And here, I said there, can he go down? I know you don't want to see players go down, and try and be honest and stay on their feet, but I think there, someone maybe with a little bit more experience, Lyndon Gooch just has a little nibble out there, look, and if he goes down, but he wants to score there, Mayende knows that, obviously I'm in a bit of a drought. I think he's got, 2 goals earlier in the season, but he wants to get back amongst the goals. He's having opportunities, but he's not quite getting the shot or putting it away at this moment in time, is he? But yeah, it was quite an open game. I thought, again,
we expected a little bit of reaction for Stoke because of the turmoil we've had in the week, and Ryan Shawcross taking the side as well. But they didn't really. They are where they are in the division, aren't they? Because of how they normally play. And they didn't really threaten too much. I mean, Tom Cannon obviously ultimately scored the goal, but.
Yeah, but we were saying, I think he was on 8 prior to this, obviously he goes on to get the winner, but yeah, that one there, I mean, it's a long ball over the top, and I think Chris just thinks he can get there, and he toes it round him, and again, he has a heavy touch, and gives Anthony Patterson the opportunity to come out and smother it. And Alexis, come into it, he had some moments, I think, you can see in there, once he gets up to his match sharpness, obviously he's come out in the starting line-up this evening, but he was getting into those positions almost as a 10 really, and he can run with it, he can carry a ball, he was a little bit rusty at times, laying a few off, a little bit loose with it, but he's going to need some game time. You know, he's barely played since he's been at the club, Millwall, and then he's been out for 6 or 7 games. Then he's asked to come into the starting lineup. But O'Shea, similar on the other side, probably one of our better players on the afternoon. He's more of a jinker, and he tries to make things happen.
And he always tries to get a shot away as well.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I thought, was this the one where I thought he could have rolled Meander in possibly down below us? Yeah, could have slipped him in there. Listen, decent strike. Wants to be involved in the game. That's what I like about O'Shea. When it's been difficult for him, as we said the other day. He's had to bide his time. People thinking he's leaving the club, and then obviously he stepped up there. He played his part in the goal a couple of weeks ago. Was it Bristol City? Maybe Patrick Roberts got the late one. But yeah, he's also involved. So he's back out there this evening. I think he's going to start on the left-hand side as well. And but this man, he got a goal, didn't he, down at Blackburn? We need him firing again. Wilson Isidore getting some more opportunities and finding the back of the net on a regular basis again, if we are going to sort of keep on pushing for those automatics.
Yeah, a couple of these incidents in the game where the back line just weren't on song.
Yeah, they had moments. Yeah, to be fair, it's communication at times. You see there, I don't know whether Dennis gives Luke a shout, but they both end up leaving it. And they almost get in, don't they, Stoke? And it was a game with some errors. And listen, as I said, they had won for 9 games themselves. So obviously we helped them out with that one and put that to an end.
Johansson had a good game as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, and people are saying he tends to do well against us.
That penalty, Danny.
Well, you don't have to ask me. The only fortunate thing is we haven't got VAR, and the ref and the linesman perhaps can't see through the bodies, give them the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, listen, it's a stonewall penalty, isn't it? Chris Mepham, as he's about to pull the trigger, he pulls him back. But they got away with one there, Stoke. And
this one, the angle goes against Adil a little bit.
Were
you surprised that Wilson didn't put the afterburners on and go through the middle of the defenders?
Yeah, no, I was. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit of confidence. We've seen him do that on a few occasions this season, haven't we? But yeah, listen, he rolls it into O'Shea, and then the angle just goes away from him a little bit. It's going to be a wonder strike on his left foot if he's to beat the keeper. Is this another one here now? Isn't it Dennis getting a strike out? I think we hit the post in a minute at this end as well, don't we? But generally it felt like the second half we were getting on top. They had a 10-minute spell, didn't they? And then it sort of fizzled out, and then it was all about us towards the end of the game. You're thinking we're the most likely team to go on and get the winner, but obviously that wasn't the case. And as I said there, we don't take our opportunities. Meander has the big opportunity with the header, doesn't he? Which he doesn't plant it on target. No, it's not a penalty. It's coming together, isn't it? Really, bodies at the far post. So see it back on this one now. O'Shea's there helping out. No, almost runs past him, I think, doesn't he? So, and then O'Shea again, into the box. Ball coming in there. Yeah, I remember saying with that one, a little bit of movement. I think we're on our heels. It's not a bad ball in that corridor off the back of the defence and the keeper. And if someone's on the front foot there, just ghosting in behind, and they're getting themselves a tapping, really. And then Mepham does well on that one, following up as they're getting off the back of Dennis there. Another one here now. Yeah, Stoke weren't afraid to sort of mix it up really and drop balls in behind us. And as you said, defensively as a unit, obviously throughout the course of the season, we've not been too bad at all. But we felt like we were getting dragged about a little bit in this game, especially in the first half. They dropped a couple of balls, general routine balls you'd expect us to defend better, and they got in a couple of times. And this one again, you see now he's off the back of Dennis. You don't often see too many people getting the better of Dennis in those situations. But they do, and then, as I say there, Chris Mepham's there to bail us out. And then I thought Dan had a steady game again.
Yeah.
He's in there, he looks like he's got his confidence up in there, and he's generally running games at the moment, so it'll be a good test again for him this evening. Up against there, they got Davis in there, and Peck, haven't they, and O'Hare as well, just off Kiefer Moore, so it'll be good to see if Dan can control the game again this evening. And here's the big chance here now. Lovely ball in from O'Shea. Look at that, free there, Linden's caught sleeping at the far post, not tucking in, and then the old Toblerone head, isn't it? I used to have a coach who actually said, and he used to shout in training, lads would do that, don't turn your head. That's what he give it on the training pitch, and that's exactly what's happened there.
Did he almost have too much time to think about it?
Yeah, I don't know if he thinks he's got to generate the power on it, but worst case there, he has got to get it on target and make the keeper make a save, hasn't he? But big opportunity for him, and he doesn't need anyone to tell him. Yes, he's a young lad, but it's a big opportunity, isn't it? And there, it's easy to say, but we score there, you probably think, right, we see the game out there. Do you know what I mean? It's 1-0 then, isn't it? And then we've got ourselves in front, but it doesn't happen. And then Isidore has this one. And this is more of a difficult one, isn't it? Trey puts the ball in, and he is penalty spot, and he has got to try and generate the power
ball
himself.
From Trey.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
he plays that ball well, Trey. It's just a little guided one, like Dan Ballard's header the other week at Swansea from the free kick, similar. But yeah, it was a difficult one for Wilson there. He's got to try and put his neck through it and get the power on it and try and get it on target. Is this the... Yeah, I think he was offside anyway there, wasn't he? Trey Hume coming in, the linesman's having a look at it down below us, but he was offside. But here's the goal, and I've said without digging too, it's hard here because it's a sort of a snowball of events really where...
Well, Connolly thought it was a free kick.
Connolly, yeah, but he's off the bench there and he gives up on it. Then O'Sheath gets rolled too easy, ends up on the deck. Luke has a heavy touch, and then Chris thinks he can clear it, almost scuffs it into Cannon, and then see there Luke there now. Luke's generally very, very good with his feet, isn't he? So it's hard to dig him out there, and he has a loose touch. And then what Chris does here, see how he just backs off and then gets attracted one of the other Stoke players. You'll see it better from this one now as it goes into him. So he makes the challenge there. Cannon gets the block, and then just see
Cannon does well to be fair.
Oh, listen, it's a great strike because it's not much backlift, and he gets good power and direction on it. Yeah, it's this
Gallagher
one here.
plays his
But see,
part.
keep your eye on Chris there, and then stay with it. But then he runs off, and that's all it needs. That 4 or 5 yards, and no chance for Anthony Patterson. It's a good strike, and that's his 9th goal of the season. And then obviously Ryan Shawcross, Dean Whiten, and the rest of the staff are obviously delighted. So it's a better one to take, but we've had that in the last 2 games. So it's something we've got used to, but we don't want to be getting used to, if you know what I mean. Conceding late goals like we are, which is obviously costing us points. I think we're minus 10 points. If you look at it in the course of the last 10 minutes of games throughout the season. So that's something we've got to address really. It's hard because people will say, well, what is it? Are we naive? Are we switching off? Well, obviously the games tend to get stretched. You're getting leggy towards the end of games, back lines, and it's just that focus or a little bit of determination, concentration, and obviously that's what you can throw in there. You go back to the Blackburn one as well, just running that 5 yards, where Danny Bart's free to come in and get the header, didn't he? Yeah. And then it scrambles around and Lennon put the ball in. Can we do a little bit more? And listen, it's easier for us at times when we get the opportunity to watch it back and see he could have done this and that, but when it's happening out there, it happens quite fast. But it's just the concentration straight to the end because it's costing us points.
Yep, it is. But we will hope to get it put right tonight behind us here on SAFC Live. We'll be broadcasting around the world, and 8 p.m. kickoff. You can get your matchday streaming passes right now. If you'd like to join us, we'll be back after the break. Well, welcome back to the Stadium of Light 8 p.m. kickoff, Sunderland versus Sheffield United. Happy New Year to everyone joining us around the world here on SAFC Live. You can still get your matchday streaming passes right now at safc.com. Let's have a look at the Sunderland side to take on Sheffield United this evening. And there's been a couple of changes, Danny, and maybe a tweak in the formation as well.
Yeah, so straight swaps really, I think, in terms of Patrick coming back in on that right-hand side. Obviously, lads dropped down to the bench, Alexic and Dennis Sirkin, and obviously Adji coming in at left-back as he did at Stoke at the weekend. And then, I think O'Sheesh may stay out on that left. I was thinking, will Mayenda naturally go out on the left-hand side where he's obviously played in recent weeks, and Adil might just come in the pocket really, just in behind Isidore, but I think he may just stay out there. I thought he was quite good at the weekend at Stoke, wasn't he? Caused 1 or 2 problems out there.
How does that affect the midfield though? Normally you've got Riggy in there who works just as hard going backwards as he does going forward.
Listen, I mean, you set that up as a midfield 3, don't you? Naturally, as we always say, Dan's going to be the one sitting and Joe bounces between, doesn't he? So he'll be up there. Mayenda will obviously go up there, and like Chris Rigg does generally, goes and squeezes with Wilson, Isidore. It can become a 4-4-2. Again, I don't like to get bogged down with formations too much. It drives me nuts. It's a guide to go off, and then obviously, action doesn't happen like that on the pitch, does it? So, listen, Mienda's in there. He wants to be getting in the box. He wants to be playing on the shoulder. I think you go back to the game at Bramall Lane. How do we win the penalty? Tommy Watson picks up the ball, running at Robinson. What is he now, early 30s? I think Robinson. He's not going to enjoy, a young lad like Mayenda trying to knock the ball past him and fly past him. So that's what I would be saying in the coaching staff. Don't always be playing in front of their centre backs this evening. Try and pop a couple of balls in behind, and let's see how they like running back towards their own goal.
Let's have a look at Sheffield United then for the first time this evening. They come into this in similar form to Sunderland, having lost 1 and drawn 1 in recent games.
Yeah, just a point in their last 2, and that first home defeat, it was Burnley, wasn't it? So a battle at the top. They came out second best in that one, and then a point against West Brom as well. So a little bit of a blip for themselves. Obviously, they had that period where they hadn't conceded a goal for hours at Bramall Lane, had they? It should have changed when we played there, obviously, but obviously we missed the penalty and some good opportunities. And that man there, the 22, Tom Davies, came off the bench and made the difference, tucked one away. But as I said earlier, you feel like, you're a bit of needle in a way, that the fact that we should have got something from the game, their arrival at the top end of the table, pushing for promotion as well. People expected them to be there. Obviously, they've had the 2-point deduction, and they'll be there or thereabouts come the end of the season. They've obviously got 1 or 2 injuries. Harry Suter, the big centre-back who got sent off against us, is out. Tyrese Campbell, the leading scorer, I think he's got 6, hasn't he, this season. He's out as well. So they've got injuries. We talk about ourselves, too many in the treatment room. Every team at this stage of the season generally gets 1 or 2. You have to battle on through it, give some of the lads an opportunity.
Yeah, you're talking about goal scorers within the Sheffield United side. In Sunderland's squad, they've got 14 different scorers this season, except who?
For us, Chris Mepham.
Yep.
Anthony Patterson.
Well, you can have that one. Trey Hume is the other one. But our friend Bob, who's normally on here, Bob Mason, that's his second name. Yeah, who's our club historian. He's watching now in Canada. Hello to you, Bob. He's coming home though soon, so we wish you a good journey home. He sent me this stat. Chris Mepham has scored 3 career goals. 2 of them have been against Sheffield United.
Right, so there we
He's
go.
due one.
Hat-trick this evening then, No, he is, He's had opportunity. Blackburn, 6-yard box, didn't he? Had that header second off. Chris Rigg had one just after as well, so that was a good one for him. He's 6'3", going up for set pieces. We see it with Dan Ballard when he goes up. He's aggressive, Dan, and he wants to go up there and get himself a goal, and he's got a few for us this season. But Chris is more than capable of chipping in as well. So between now and the end of the season, I'd expect him to get 1 or 2, certainly,
Yeah, especially from those set-piece situations. So Dan Ballard finally started scoring from set pieces. He was out injured, of course, What do you think about the health of the squad at the moment? We're hoping to see the likes of Chris Rigg back soon, Romain Mundle back soon, Alan Brown back soon. That would certainly help a lot, wouldn't it? As we go into January, of course, where we can strengthen the side.
Well, the window's open now, isn't it? Christian was just along from us there, so I'm sure he's busy.
He's gone. He's busy. He's come back with his computer.
Team. Exactly, But no, listen, it's the talk now, and it's going to be that. Where do we need to strengthen? Obviously, we'll have our opinions. The fans tweet in and ask us who we think. I'm sure they want to see 2 or 3 coming in. You mentioned it there. We've got Alan Brown. Romain was flying, wasn't he? Early got the opportunity when Jack moved on to Ipswich.
And of course, Tommy Watson as well.
Tommy was getting into his stride as well, and a couple of goals against Stoke here. He was excellent at Sheffield United, and you could just see him growing by the game. And that's what happens in football. Setbacks, opportunities for others. But you want them back out the treatment room, especially now we're onto the so-called home straight of the season, the second leg of it. But we're going to have 1 or 2 come in, I'm sure. Obviously 1 or 2 will generally move on as things do. They're not getting game time. go out on loan, go and get some games rather than sitting around here or playing 21s football. It makes sense and helps everyone out.
Yeah. Let's have another look at the Sunderland side then ahead of this 8 p.m. kickoff here at the Stadium of Light. Couple of changes, and Danny will take you through those in a moment. But the games come thick and fast at the moment. The festive period in English football is relentless, and we go again on Sunday as well here at the Stadium of Light against Portsmouth on that occasion.
Yeah,
but that's the team for
today,
tonight
as well. 4-0 win today,
did,
Portsmouth. Run through it. Anthony Patterson in goal. Actually coming in for Dennis at left back. Luke and Chris continue at centre back. Obviously Dan Ballard still out injured. Trey at right back, as you mentioned. Dan Neal in there. I've got Joe just dropping in, but generally, listen, he bounces between Dan Neal and the sort of 8 role really anyway. Mayenda, I think, is just going to play in behind Wilson Isidore this evening. And then obviously Patrick coming back in his favourite position on that right-hand side. And I think Adil Al-Shish will continue on that left-hand side. And obviously the two dropping down to the bench, Alexic and Dennis Serkin.
That's your Sunderland side. Let's flash up the Sheffield United side, who come into this one on the back of a draw and a defeat before that. Before that, they were pretty, impeccable really in terms of their form in the division. That's why they occupy the top end of the division, as you'd expect with this side that came down from the Premier League. Yeah,
do you know what? I don't think they've blown teams away. Listen, we don't watch them every week. Obviously, our main focus is on Sunderland, but just looking at their results, a lot of clean sheets, 15 clean sheets at them, and obviously Burnley have had another one today, so they were Burnley 16, they're 15, second best in terms of keeping the ball out the back of their net. Goals scored, 5th in that. They got 33 they've scored as well. So they're there or thereabouts in terms of the goals, aren't they? But yeah, I don't think they're blowing teams away. I think they'll give you opportunities, as we've seen down at their place earlier in the season. But yeah, can we start right this evening? Can we get an early goal and get the crowd on side?
Okay, speaking of that, they're doing their best efforts inside the ball right now to do exactly that, just as the players run in from the warm-up here. And we're going to go up to our commentary position now, halfway up the West Stand as we look at it. We'll be bringing you full 90-minute commentary. It's an 8 p.m. kickoff here at the Stadium of Light. We'd like to say goodbye to all you watching the free pre-game programme on YouTube. And of course, you can get your massive streaming passes right now at safc.com.